At 17, my parents demanded I take the fall for my drug-dealing brother and kicked me out when I refused. 13 years later, after I built a successful company, they called 99 times begging me to save my brother from federal charges. Hey Reddit, my family tried to break me young, but I refused to play the role they assigned. I clawed my way out, built something real, and thought I'd finally put them in the rear view. Turns out they weren't done trying to drag me back. Before we get to that part, here's how it all started. My name's Jake. I'm 30. I run a software company. But 13 years ago, I was 17, working night shifts at a grocery store and sleeping on my uncle's couch because my parents kicked me out for refusing to go to prison for my brother's drug charges. Dad ran an auto shop. Mom said nothing. And my older brother Cody was the golden child who could do no wrong, even when he was doing everything wrong. The cops showed up on a Tuesday. 2 of them. Showed my dad a search warrant. He let them in because he didn't have much choice. They found 3 ounces in my brother's room. Cody was 20. I was 17. He'd been dealing since he was 16, and everyone in the family knew it, except apparently my parents who paid for his car and his clothes. Cody got away with everything. Wrecked Dad's truck at 18, didn't pay a dime for repairs, failed out of community college twice. Dad just shrugged. Got arrested for possession at 19. Dad hired a lawyer and made it disappear. Meanwhile, I had a 10 p.m. curfew and had to explain where every dollar went. The cops asked whose room it was. My dad said it was shared. A lie. I had my own room. Always had. They asked to speak to both of us separately. The older cop pulled me into the kitchen, asked if those drugs were mine, asked if I'd ever used, asked if I knew who Cody was selling to. I told the truth. That was Cody's room. Those were Cody's drugs. I had nothing to do with it. Didn't use. Didn't know his customers because I stayed as far away from his business as possible. The cop wrote everything down, looked at me like he was trying to figure out if I was lying. You sure about that? Positive. Because your brother says you've been acting strange lately. Says he's worried you might be using. My brother's trying to save himself. Smart kid. Cody told them he had no idea how those drugs got there. That maybe his younger brother had put them there. That he'd been worried about me lately. That I'd been distant and secretive. All lies. But Cody had always been a good liar. Charming. Knew how to work people. The cops didn't buy it. One of them told my dad they'd been building a case for weeks. Surveillance. Watching who came and went. They knew Cody had been making runs to 3 different counties. They weren't here for a personal stash. They were here for the network. The cops left after 2 hours. No arrest yet because they were coordinating with federal investigators. Told us someone would be in touch. Not to leave town. The next 4 days were bad. Day 1 was Dad's logic play. He sat me down an hour after the cops left. Calm. Reasonable. If anyone asks, if the cops come back, you need to say it was yours. That Cody didn't know about it. No. Listen to me. Cody's got his whole future ahead of him. You're younger. The courts go easier on minors. You take this, maybe you get probation. Community service. It won't follow you forever. He was full of it. I was 17, which meant I'd be tried as an adult on serious charges. But he didn't care about facts. He cared about protecting Cody. I'm not taking charges for him. You're being short-sighted. This is bigger than you. That's a you problem. I walked out. He let me. Day 2 was Mom's guilt campaign. She came to my room that night. Knocked soft. Sat on my bed. Please just listen. This is going to destroy Cody's life. He made a mistake, but he's young. He deserves another chance. This is like his 5th chance, Mom. He's your brother. Family helps family. Family doesn't ask family to go to prison for them. She was crying harder now. Think of what we've done for you. We raised you. Fed you. Put a roof over your head. After everything we've given you, you owe us this. I don't fund consequences. She left without saying goodnight. Day 3 was Cody's intimidation attempt. He showed up in my room around midnight. Sat in my desk chair. His hands were shaking slightly, but his voice was steady. You really gonna let me go down for this? Yeah. Why? Because they're your drugs, your choices, your mess. He leaned forward. Then he smiled. Empty. Hollow. You know what? I hope you fail. Whatever little future you think you're building. I hope it crashes. Because when you need help someday, I'm gonna remember this. Get out of my room. He stood up. Paused at the door. Dad's right about you. You always thought you were better than us. I left the family business when I left the house. That didn't make sense yet, but it would. Day 4 was the ultimatum. I'd been keeping a secret. 3 months earlier, I'd gotten an acceptance letter from State University. Full scholarship for computer science. Everything covered. I'd applied through my guidance counselor because I knew what Dad would say. That I should stay local. Work at his shop. Not waste time with college. I'd hidden the letter in my desk drawer. Full ride. A way out. Now Dad was in my doorway. Last chance. You take the charge or you leave. I'm not taking a felony for him. Then pack your stuff. I pulled out the acceptance letter. Put it on the bed between us. I got a full scholarship. To State. For computer science. The room went silent. My mom appeared behind him. Stopped crying. Cody came out of his room. Dad's face changed. Patient to pissed in half a second. You applied to college without telling me? I got a full ride. I don't care what you got. You think you're better than this family? Better than honest work? Better than dealing drugs and forcing other people to take the fall for it? Wrong thing to say. He got in my face. Started yelling about respect and loyalty, and how I'd always acted like I was special. How I needed to understand that family came first, and if I couldn't understand that, then maybe I didn't belong here. My mom was repeating things he'd said. Family comes first. Family comes first. Cody spoke up from the hallway. Come on, man. You'd really throw me under the bus over some college? Not my emergency contact. Dad pointed at the door. Take the charge or get out. Those are your options. I looked at my mom. She was staring at the floor. Wouldn't make eye contact. Mom. She didn't respond. Mom, say something. Nothing. Just her whispering, family comes first, under her breath. Fine. I grabbed a duffel bag from my closet. Started throwing clothes in. Laptop, phone charger, the acceptance letter. I had $347 saved in my bank account from SaveMart, but I could only access $68 in cash right now. Everything I owned that mattered fit in 2 bags. I walked downstairs. Dad was by the door with his arms crossed. Mom was on the couch still whispering to herself. Cody was in the kitchen getting food. You think you're gonna make it out there? You'll be back begging in a month. Guess we'll find out. Don't come back. You walk out that door, you're done. No calling, no crawling back. You're on your own. Understood. He opened the door. The rain was heavy. Late November. Cold. He slammed the door. I heard the lock click. I stood there for maybe 10 seconds, getting soaked. Then I started walking. Made it 3 blocks before I had to stop. Sat down on a bus stop bench. Bags soaking through. Pulled out my phone and made the call. Uncle Rick answered on the 4th ring. Hey, I need help. His voice went from casual to alert immediately. What's wrong? I gave him the short version. Fight with my parents. Got kicked out. Sitting at a bus stop in the rain with nowhere to go. Where are you? I told him. Stay there. I'm coming to get you. Rick's truck pulled up 23 minutes after I called. He got out, took one look at me soaked through, and his jaw tightened. Get in. He didn't ask questions, just loaded my bags in the bed under a tarp and drove me back to his place. Small house 20 minutes outside town. 2 bedrooms. Lived alone since his divorce 3 years back. That first night I slept on his couch. But the next morning Rick insisted, I've got a spare room. It's mostly storage, but we'll clear it out today. You're not sleeping on the couch for the next year. I don't want to be a burden. You're not a burden. You're family. And someone in this family needs to act like it matters. We spent 2 hours clearing out the spare room. Moving boxes. Setting up an air mattress. Rick gave me clean towels. Showed me where everything was. Made me a sandwich while I changed. You want to tell me what really happened? I told him everything. The drugs. The cops. The demand that I take the charge. The 4-day pressure campaign. The kick-out. Rick listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. That jerk. He didn't mean Cody. I'm calling a lawyer I know. We're filing for guardianship. Your dad doesn't get to kick you out and still claim custody. The lawyer was a guy named Bill from Rick's union. Did family law on the side. Sounded tired when he answered at 8:30 p.m., but he listened. Guardianship's doable if your dad doesn't contest it. Given that he literally kicked you out, I'm guessing he won't fight it. But we'll need documentation. I had text messages. Had the acceptance letter. Had pay stubs from SaveMart showing I'd been working and saving. It wasn't much, but it was something. We'll make it work. Hearing should be scheduled within 3 weeks. In the meantime, I lived with Rick. Went to school. Kept working my shifts at SaveMart. Rick was different from my dad. Worked as a commercial electrician. Long hours, but he never came home angry. Never took it out on anyone. Just worked hard, paid his bills, treated people with basic respect. He didn't hover. Didn't ask where I was going. Just said dinner was at 6 if I was home and to text if I wasn't. First week there, I offered to pay rent. He looked at me like I'd grown a second head. You're 17 and you just got kicked out. Keep your money. I want to contribute. Buy groceries when you can. That's enough. I bought groceries. Made dinner when he worked late. It felt normal. The guardianship hearing was 3 weeks out. Bill said I'd have to testify about what happened. They won't fight it, Rick said. They kicked him out. They can't claim they want custody now. He was right. But that didn't make the hearing less brutal. The day came. I wore the only button-up shirt I owned. Rick wore his work clothes because he'd come straight from a job site. Bill met us at the courthouse. Your dad's not here. Your mom is. Back row. I turned. My mom was sitting in the last row. Alone. The judge came in. Asked why I was seeking guardianship from my uncle instead of living with my parents. Bill explained. The drugs. The scapegoating attempt. The demand that I take the fall. The kick-out in the rain. He entered the text messages as evidence. The acceptance letter. My work history. The judge looked at the paperwork, then at my mom. Ma'am, you're the minor's mother. Do you have anything to say about this? My mom stood up. Shaky. She looked at me for the first time since I'd left. I don't want to lose him. The judge waited. But I can't go against my husband, and I can't let my other son go to prison. So you're choosing not to contest the guardianship? Silence. Ma'am, I don't contest it. The judge's expression could have frozen water. Ma'am, you understand you're essentially abandoning your 17-year-old son? You're allowing him to be raised by his uncle because you won't stand up to your husband or hold your adult son accountable for his criminal actions? My mom started crying. Didn't answer. Guardianship granted. Sir, you are now the legal guardian. The minor's biological parents will retain parental rights, but custody is transferred effective immediately. My mom left before I could talk to her. Not that I wanted to. Rick drove us home in silence. When we got there, he made me a sandwich and told me we'd figure out the rest as it came. Living with Rick became normal faster than I expected. He treated me like a person. Not property, not a pawn. Just a kid who needed stability and space to figure things out. I finished senior year. Kept working at SaveMart. My manager Frank figured out my situation pretty quick. Ex-military. Didn't talk much. Started leaving expired sandwiches in a specific spot in the back. Never said anything about it, just made sure I knew they were there. One night I thanked him. He waved it off. Been there. Different circumstances, but same desperate. Someone helped me. Passing it forward. I graduated with honors. Rick came to graduation with a small camera. Took photos. Frank came in his work uniform. Gave me a firm handshake after. My parents didn't come. Cody didn't come. I didn't expect them to, and I wasn't disappointed. Rick helped me move into my dorm at State. Bought me a mini fridge, desk lamp, fan. Gave me $200 and told me to call if I needed anything. I'm proud of you. You know that, right? Yeah, I know. Don't let them make you bitter. You're better than that. I moved in and started the next chapter. The scholarship covered tuition and dorm fees, but I still needed money for books, food, transportation. 3 jobs became my normal. College was brutal. Not the academics. I was good at school. But everyone else seemed to have safety nets. Parents who sent care packages. Who paid for textbooks. Who wired money when things got tight. I worked 3 jobs and learned to smile when people asked about my family over Thanksgiving break. Not close with them. They'd nod. They didn't understand. I majored in computer science because the career counselor showed me the salary projections. I didn't care about passion. I cared about never being powerless again. My roommate freshman year was Taylor. Came from money. Not rich, but comfortable. He couldn't understand why I wouldn't just ask my parents for help with books. It's like $80. Just call them. Not that simple. Family's family, though. I stopped explaining after that. The campus library became my second home. 7 p.m. to 2 a.m., teaching myself programming languages beyond what the classes covered. Python, JavaScript, Ruby. Second semester I saw a flyer in the computer lab. Local landscaping company needed a basic website. $300. I made them something better than basic. Built a full site with portfolio gallery, contact form, quote request system. When I showed the owner the finished product, his eyes went wide. This is incredible. I'll pay you $500. He gave me his business partner's number. That guy needed a website too. Then his cousin. By sophomore year, I'd built websites for 14 local businesses. The money wasn't great, but it was mine. I started keeping a notebook. Every client, every pain point, every feature they wished they had. Spring semester junior year. I got overwhelmed. 4 projects at once, all with deadlines in the same week. I posted on the computer science department board. Anyone want to make cash helping with overflow work? 2 people responded. Jenna was a sophomore who coded faster than anyone I'd ever met. Kevin was a senior who was better at talking to clients than I was. We worked out of my apartment for a week straight. Pizza and energy drinks. We finished all 4 projects on time. I paid them each $600. They both asked if there was more work. There was always more work. By the end of junior year, we'd incorporated Webhaven Solutions. 3 employees, including me. We operated out of my apartment with server racks I'd built from parts I found on clearance. Kevin handled client relations. Jenna handled complex back-end development. I handled everything else. The day I graduated, I walked across that stage alone. No family in the crowd. But Rick was there. Kevin and Jenna were there. Linda came. Frank showed up in a suit. After graduation, I had offers from 2 companies. One would pay $75,000. One would pay $85,000. Both safe, stable. Kevin thought I should take one. Jenna thought I should keep building. I went all in on Webhaven Solutions. The first few years after graduation were brutal. By year 3, we landed a contract with a regional insurance company. 6 months of work and $220,000. More money than I'd ever seen. 3 months in, we were already 2 weeks behind. The client was threatening to pull out. I was working 90-hour weeks. Kevin was juggling furious calls. Jenna was drowning in code. Everyone was cracking. The breaking point came late on a Thursday. I'd been at my desk 18 hours, staring through my screen more than at it, when Kevin walked in. When's the last time you ate? Lunch, maybe. That was yesterday. He ordered pizza, made me eat, then called Jenna. Midnight meeting. All 3 of us looked wrecked. We're behind because we're not communicating, I said. We're stepping over each other, and I'm micromanaging everything. So what's the fix? Jenna asked. We hire someone who actually knows how to run projects. We hired Linda, a 54-year-old project manager who'd spent 2 decades cleaning up corporate disasters. Her first day, she surveyed our chaos and said, "How are you even functional?" Kevin said, "We're not. That's why you're here." She rebuilt us from the ground up. Filing systems, daily stand-ups, real task management tools instead of sticky notes and panic. Then she sat me down. "You're bottlenecking everything. You don't trust anyone to do their jobs. If I let go, things fall apart." No. Things fall apart because you won't let anyone else hold them together. Painful, but true. I started delegating. Slowly, then more. We delivered the insurance contract a week early. The client was thrilled. $15,000 bonus and 3 referrals. One of those referrals turned into a $400,000 job rebuilding a manufacturing company's inventory system. I almost said no. Too big. Too risky. Linda pulled me aside. "You're scared of success. Stop waiting for the sky to fall. Do the work." We took it. By year 5, we hit $2 million in revenue. It didn't feel real. I was still buying generic cereal and living like a broke student. One afternoon, Kevin walked into the break room while I was eating my 3rd bowl of instant ramen that week. "You know you can afford food, right? Real food? It's fine. It's not fine. You haven't taken a day off in 3 months. You're going to burn out, and you'll take the company with you." I resisted, but he was right. I took a weekend off and visited Rick. The break felt wrong at first, then necessary. Rick took one look at me and said, "You look less like death. Good. Now learn how to rest." Year 6. I hired a real accountant and lawyer, and finally paid myself a salary that matched the size of the company I was running. I bought a small condo, 2 bedrooms, sunlight, quiet. That quiet kept me awake the first night. Too nice felt dangerous. Around then, Jenna told me she was leaving. Not because she was unhappy, because she wanted to build something of her own. "You taught me I could," she said. We had lunch on her last day. I gave her contacts, advice, encouragement. Why help me? I'm competition now. Because Rick helped me. Frank helped me. Now I help you. She called 3 times that month with questions. I answered everyone. Kevin stayed. He'd gotten married. A baby was on the way. "I want the stability," he said, "and someone has to keep you from making terrible decisions." By year 7, we had 45 employees, and I was learning fast that managing people wasn't like managing code. Code didn't cry. Code didn't have bad days. Code didn't have dying parents. One day I lit into a developer named Tom for slipping deadlines and buggy work. He nodded, left, and an hour later, Linda appeared in my doorway. "You know Tom's mom has Alzheimer's, right?" I didn't, and the shame hit hard. "You assume everyone handles life like you do," she said, which is to say, barely. I found Tom in the parking lot, sitting in his car. "Can we talk?" He looked exhausted, red-eyed. "Linda told me about your mom. I'm sorry. I should have asked." He shrugged, defeated. "I can't keep up. Something's gotta give. Let me help. We'll adjust your workload. Work from home when you need to. We'll figure it out." "You'd do that?" "Yeah. You're good at what you do, and everyone needs support sometimes." He stayed with us 7 more years. Became one of our strongest developers. When his mom passed, we paid him for the 2 weeks he took off. No questions asked. We were doing well. Really well. The kid who'd been kicked out in the rain now had a company worth millions. I should have felt proud, grateful, triumphant. Instead, I felt tired. Always tired. Suspicious of good things, like they were borrowed time. Like someone would knock on the door any minute and tell me the mistake had been discovered. But the company kept growing. The systems held. The people held each other up. The work got smoother. And slowly, very slowly, I learned to breathe. Not because life got easier, but because I wasn't carrying it alone anymore. Year 7, I met Vanessa at the worst possible time. We just landed a 6-month contract that was 3 months behind schedule. The client was threatening to pull out, and I was drowning. Vanessa was a paralegal for their law firm. She barely spoke during the meeting, but the one look she gave me said, "You're handling this wrong." The meeting went badly, but 2 days later she called my office. "Your IT setup is a mess. You're actually ahead on several benchmarks, but your client doesn't understand any of it," she said. "I can translate. You owe me coffee." At the cafe, she showed up with a color-coded spreadsheet explaining my own project better than I ever had. It was the first time I'd laughed in weeks. 1 coffee became 2, then dinner. Then suddenly she was someone I was thinking about when I should have been thinking about code. 4 months in, she finally asked about my family. I told her everything. Cody, the drugs, the scapegoating, Rick taking me in. She didn't try to fix it. She didn't preach forgiveness. She just said, "That's messed up," and let it sit. It was the first time someone had given me space instead of judgment. Year 8, we moved in together. That's when my damage really showed. I worked until 2 a.m., forgot to eat, lived like stopping meant losing everything. Vanessa would drag me to bed and tell me I was burning out. I kept insisting I was fine. Our first real fight came after a 70-plus hour week I hadn't told her about. She found me passed out at my desk and called me out, hard. When she left for 2 days, I called Rick. He told me I was turning into my mother, shutting down when things got hard. When she came back, I apologized for the first time in my life and actually meant it. We made rules. If I was overwhelmed, I told her. If I was working insane hours, she needed to know. And I stuck to it. She had her own scars. Her dad bailed when she was 12, and sometimes she'd test me just to see if I'd leave too. We learned each other's patterns and grew around them instead of away. Year 9, we got engaged. I proposed at Rick's house over Sunday dinner, nothing fancy. We had a small wedding. Rick walked me down the aisle, my team showed up. Even Frank wore a suit. Vanessa's family treated me like I'd always been theirs. Year 10. Webhaven hit $12 million in revenue. Vanessa made partner. We bought a house with a yard and a dog we named Frank, which made the real Frank laugh. Rick came over most Sundays, fixed things, told awful dad jokes. Life was good. Then my phone started ringing. I was in a quarterly review meeting when my phone vibrated. Then again, then kept vibrating. 63 missed calls, all from Cody's number. I stepped out, listened to the first voicemail. "Hey, I know we haven't talked, but I need to talk to you. It's important. Call me back." The second one was angrier. "Seriously, man, call me back. Mom and Dad need help. This is serious." I blocked his number. 2 hours later, my dad called from a number I didn't recognize. "Your brother's in trouble. Serious charges. We need help. Call me." Deleted. My mom called from a different number. "Please just talk to us. Please. This is different. We made mistakes, but we need you." Vanessa noticed something was wrong at dinner. They called. "Your parents?" "And Cody." 63 calls. She was quiet for a minute. "You should probably find out what they want, just so you know what you're dealing with." She was right. I called my dad back the next morning. "Hello? It's me. What do you want? Oh, thank God. We need to talk. No. Tell me on the phone. He took a breath. Your brother got arrested again. They're talking 20 years minimum. Distribution. They're saying he's part of a larger operation. Okay? Okay? That's all you have to say? He's been dealing for over a decade. This was inevitable. We need a lawyer. Federal defense. We've spent everything we have and we can't afford... So hire one. We can't. We're broke. The shop's barely breaking even. We need help and you have that company. And you want me to pay for Cody's lawyer. He's your brother. He stopped being my brother when you kicked me out to protect him. That was a mistake. We admit that. Maybe he should have thought about consequences before spending his 20s dealing drugs. You can't mean that. That's a you problem. After everything we did for you, everything you did for me, you kicked me out at 17, told me I'd be begging to come back, chose him over me, and now you want my help? Please. We're desperate. Good. I hung up. They didn't stop. Over the next 3 weeks, I got 87 more calls. Different numbers. My mom, my dad, Cody from jail, random relatives I barely knew. I blocked them all. Then my dad showed up at my office. Security called. Sir, there's someone in the lobby demanding to see you. Says he's your father. Tell him I'm not available. I did. He's refusing to leave. Call the police. 10 minutes later, police escorted him out. He was yelling about family and abandonment. Kevin came to my office after. Want to tell me what that was about? I told him everything. That's heavy. You need documentation. Start building a file. Already started. My mom started showing up in the parking lot, waiting by my car, crying, begging me to just talk to her for 5 minutes. I took photos, kept records. Then Cody made bail. Apparently, he'd agreed to cooperate with investigators in exchange for pretrial release. My dad had put up the house as collateral, and Cody decided to come find me. He showed up at my house at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. Vanessa answered the door, came upstairs where I was working. Cody's here. I went downstairs. Cody looked terrible, thinner, jumpy. You need to leave. Just hear me out. No, leave or I'm calling the cops. They're going to bury me. 20 years. I need help. That's your business. How can you be this cold? We're family. We stopped being family when mom and dad kicked me out to protect you. When you sat there and watched it happen. When you spent the last decade not giving a single thought to whether I was alive or dead. I was a kid. You were 20. I was 17. You were old enough to know better. I closed the door. Called the police. Reported trespassing. The harassment escalated. My mom sent letters to my office trying to turn my employees against me. Linda brought me one. Your mom's unhinged. Yep. Time for legal action. Yep. I hired a lawyer. The expensive kind. We filed for restraining orders against all 3 of them. Compiled everything. The voicemails. The office visits. The letters. The showing up at my house. Then my dad got creative. Filed a police report claiming I'd stolen tools from his shop when I left. That I'd threatened him over the phone. All lies. My lawyer shut it down fast. Showed the guardianship paperwork. Showed I was a minor when I left. Showed the timeline didn't match. The police closed the complaint. Then my dad started calling my clients. Told them I was under investigation for fraud. That they should pull their contracts. 2 clients called to verify. I explained. Sent documentation. They stayed. 3 clients just quietly pulled their contracts. $48,000 in lost revenue. I could have let it go. But I'd spent 13 years building something from nothing. And I wasn't about to let them destroy it. My lawyer got aggressive. Cease and desist letters. Defamation claims. Threatened criminal charges for harassment and tortious interference. The hearing for the restraining orders came 3 weeks later. All 3 of them showed up. Dad in a suit, mom crying, Cody looking miserable. My lawyer presented everything. The original kickout. The years of no contact, the sudden harassment, the office disruptions, the letters to employees, the false police reports, the calls to my clients. The judge looked disgusted. And you're doing this because you want him to pay for your other son's legal defense? My dad tried to explain about family and obligation. The judge cut him off. You kicked him out at 17 for refusing to take drug charges for his brother. You had no contact for over a decade. You show up demanding money, and when he refuses, you harass him, file false reports, and try to destroy his business. That's not family. That's extortion. Restraining order granted. 1,000 feet minimum distance. No contact direct or indirect. Violation results in immediate arrest. My mom tried to approach me after. Bailiff stopped her. I left through a side exit. Vanessa was waiting in the parking lot. How'd it go? Restraining order granted. Good. Now they can't touch you. 6 months went by. Quiet. No contact. No harassment. I heard through Rick that Cody had taken a plea deal. 12 years. Federal prison. Probably out in 9 with good behavior. My dad's auto shop went under. Couldn't recover from years of draining money on lawyers and bail. He ended up working for a chain lube shop doing oil changes for $15 an hour. My mom stopped talking to most of her friends. I felt nothing about it. Maybe that made me cold. Maybe it made me practical. Either way, I'd spent enough years caring about people who didn't care about me. Life moved on. Webhaven Solutions kept growing. Year 12, I sold 30% to a private equity firm for enough money that I'd never have to work again. I kept working anyway. Vanessa and I had a daughter. Named her Riley. Rick was in the delivery room. Cried when he held her. Frank came to visit in the hospital. Brought a stuffed bear. My parents didn't call. Didn't send anything. Good. Riley turned 3 and started asking about grandparents. I showed her a picture of Rick. That's your great uncle Rick. He took care of me when I needed it most. Where's your mom and dad? They're not around anymore. Why? Because sometimes people make choices that mean they can't be in your life. And that's okay because family isn't always about blood. It's about who shows up when things get hard. She seemed satisfied with that. Then a few years after the restraining order, my doorbell rang. Saturday morning. Vanessa was out. I was drinking coffee. I looked through the window. My mother was standing on my porch. I opened the door but didn't step outside. Pulled out my phone and hit record. You're violating the restraining order. I know. I'll leave after this. I just needed to see you. She looked older, beaten down. Your father and I separated. I moved in with my sister 3 months ago. He refused to change, to admit what he did wrong. I finally left. Okay, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that I know what I did, what I didn't do. I stood there for a long moment. You were there. Every time. You watched him scapegoat me for Cody's drugs. You watched him kick me out. You sat silent in court when Rick got guardianship. You showed up here harassing me. You sent letters trying to poison my employees against me. And now you're sorry? Yes. You know what you told me the night before I left? You said after everything we've given you, you owe us this. You said I owed you taking a felony charge for Cody because you fed me and put a roof over my head. She was crying now. I told myself staying quiet was keeping the peace. It was just cowardice. Yeah, it was. For what it's worth, I'm proud of what you built. You don't have the right to be proud. You gave up that right when you chose silence over standing up for me. I know. Do not come back here. Do not contact me. The restraining order is still active, and I have you on video violating it. I will have you arrested if you show up again. I understand. She turned to leave, then stopped. I'm sorry I wasn't the mother you needed. Me too. She got in her car and left. Vanessa came home an hour later. I told her what happened, showed her the video. How do you feel? Like I made the right call? Good. I never heard from any of them again. Rick told me eventually that my dad's life fell apart completely. Working minimum wage. Living in a studio apartment. Alone. Rick told me my mom went back to school. Got certified as a medical assistant. Was trying to build a life that didn't revolve around enabling other people's destruction. Rick told me Cody got out early on good behavior. Living in a halfway house? Working in a warehouse making $12 an hour? Would be on federal probation for another decade. I listened to the updates. Didn't care, but I listened. Year 15. I stepped back from running Webhaven Solutions day to day. Made Kevin CEO. Kept my ownership but let him lead. Vanessa and I traveled. Spent time with Riley. I expanded the scholarship fund I'd started years ago. Made sure kids who got kicked out had options. Life was good. And 13 years after my dad told me I'd be back begging, I'd never once considered it. I'd built a life. A real one. With people who chose to be there. Who showed up. Who didn't need me to sacrifice myself to prove I love them. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And I'd reached that point with my parents. Whether they lived or died. Whether Cody got his life together. Whether they were proud of me or ashamed. I'd stopped needing them to be anything. That was the real victory. Not the money. Not the business. Not the house or the success. The victory was not needing them anymore. On days when Riley asked about my parents, I'd tell her the truth. That family isn't always the people you're born to. Sometimes it's the people who choose you when things fall apart. Uncle Rick, who took me in. Frank, who looked away when I needed food. Kevin and Jenna, who built something with me. Linda, who taught me how to lead. Vanessa, who loved me without needing me to be perfect. That was family. Everything else was just biology. And biology without love was nothing at all. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.